first ripple was too vast for any earthly sensor, a tremor in the cosmic fabric felt only by the most attuned. On Asgard, Heimdall's golden eyes, usually piercing through galaxies to Midgard, suddenly widened in alarm. The Bifrost hummed with an unnatural discord, not Ragnarok's herald, but something insidious, a dark melody seeping from beyond known dimensions. He raised the G-Jaller horn, but only a low, guttural note, a warning rather than a blare, escaped its depths. On Earth, in a quiet Brooklyn apartment, Wiccan bolted upright, a primal thrum of magic coursing through his veins. His reality-warping abilities, usually a controlled hum, flared uncontrollably, flickering the lights and bending shadows into grotesque shapes. He felt it, a presence, vast and malevolent, pressing against the very architecture of existence. A name whispered itself in his mind, ancient and terrible, Dormammu. This cosmic disturbance, a prelude to Dormammu's incursion, had other immediate effects. In the heart of the American desert, where Tiamat, the slumbering celestial, lay buried, a faint, rhythmic pulse resonated. It wasn't an awakening, not yet, but a stirring that sent ripples of raw energy across the globe, thrumming against the boundaries of Earth's dimensions. The opportunistic chaos, however, began in the mundane. Obadiah Stane, now monstrously fused with a symbiote, his iron monger armor a grotesque parody of its former self, roared through the streets of New York. The symbiotic enhancement gave him not only terrifying strength and regeneration, but a mad glee in destruction. He targeted power grids, ripping through infrastructure with a ferocity born of vengeance and alien hunger. This drew the initial wave of heroes. Nightcrawler, a blue blur of teleportation and acrobatic grace, materialized on a crumbling skyscraper, evacuating terrified civilians. Below, Gambit, a charming rogue, even amidst destruction, hurled kinetically charged playing cards that exploded with surprising force, trying to redirect Iron Monger's attacks away from innocent bystanders. Sentinel, a mutant with the power to absorb and manipulate energy, pulsed with a defensive aura, trying to contain the feedback from the damaged power lines. His face etched with the familiar struggle against prejudice that often accompanied his heroism. Mon ami, Gambit called out to Nightcrawler as he flipped over a collapsing bus. This tincan's got a bad temper, non. More than that, Remai, Nightcrawler replied, phasing through a shower of debris. The city, the air feels wrong. They were right. The Iron Monger was merely a symptom. High above Earth, Captain Marvel, a blur of red, blue, and gold, intercepted a squadron of grotesque, shadowy constructs, mindless ones, seeping through a tear in the sky. She blasted them with concentrated energy, her Kree warrior instincts kicking in. Beside her, Stardust, a cosmic entity of pure energy and light, manifested, her elegant form crackling with immense power as she incinerated the encroaching horrors. Heimdall's warning was accurate, Captain Marvel acknowledged, her voice crisp over the comms. Dormammu is making his move. The dark dimension is pressing in, and he uses this weakness Stardust observed, her voice resonating with ancient wisdom. This stirring of the celestial to anchor his chaotic entry. Back on Earth, Medusa, queen of the Inhumans, had already mobilized her people. Her prehensile, fiery red hair lashed out, forming defensive barriers and snatching civilians from harm's way as she directed rescue efforts. She had felt Tiamat's subtle awakening, too, a deep hum beneath the surface of the planet, and understood its gravitas. The Monger is a distraction, she declared to her advisors. A localized threat to draw our attention. The true enemy lies beyond. Wiccan, now joined by a worried but determined Nightcrawler, Gambit, and Sentinel, who had finally contained Iron Monger and sent him to a temporary holding cell thanks to Medusa's Inhuman security detail, was at the epicenter of the power fluctuations. He felt Dormammu's presence like a physical weight, crushing against reality. He understood Dormammu's game. The Dread One sought to exploit Tiamat's vast, primal energy as a conduit, a cosmic anchor, to fully manifest and swallow Earth whole into the dark dimension. He's using Tiamat's awakening as a gateway, Wiccan explained, his eyes glowing with arcane energy. He needs that immense power to solidify his presence here, to fully breach our reality. Heimdall, projecting his image faintly through the Bifrost to their location, confirmed Wiccan's fears. The dark dimension is a torrent against the gates of Yggdrasil. Dormammu seeks to corrupt creation itself, using this celestial's primal force. The disparate heroes formed an unlikely council. Captain Marvel and Stardust descended, bringing the full scope of the cosmic threat. Medusa arrived, her regal presence a rallying point. We need to sever his connection to Tiamat, Wiccan stated, a newfound resolve hardening his features. My magic can counter his, but I'll need cover and a direct conduit to Tiamat's localized energy signature. Their plan was desperate. Nightcrawler would teleport Wiccan to the deepest point of Tiamat's local energetic resonance, where Dormammu's dark tendrils were thickest. Gambit would kinetically charge anything and everything, the surrounding debris, even the ground itself, to create diversions and blunt Dormammu's manifested forms. Sentinel would absorb Dormammu's dark energy, trying to overload his own system to create a feedback loop. Medusa would command a defensive perimeter, her powerful hair forming an impenetrable shield around Wiccan. Captain Marvel and Stardust would be their heavy hitters, blasting Dormammu's manifestations back into the dark dimension. The final confrontation was a maelstrom of light and shadow. Dormammu's colossal, fiery head manifested in the sky, his eyes burning with malevolent intent, mindless ones swarming like locusts. Wiccan, brought to the core breach by Nightcrawler, chanted, his voice echoing with ancient power, reality bending around him. He felt Dormammu's will, a crushing force that threatened to unravel his very being. His journey of identity, once a quiet struggle, now roared to life, demanding his full acceptance of his power. I am Billy Kaplan, he screamed, his voice amplified by magic. I am Wiccan, and this reality is mine to protect. As Dormammu's focus shifted to the young sorcerer, Captain Marvel and Stardust unleashed twin blasts of cosmic energy, tearing through the mindless ones and striking Dormammu's spectral form. Gambit, grinning defiantly, threw a flurry of charged playing cards that exploded against Dormammu's ethereal body, the kinetic shocks rippling through the dark energy. Sentinel, his body glowing with absorbed power, unleashed a focused beam back at Dormammu, trying to disrupt his concentration. Medusa's hair formed a shimmering, impenetrable dome around Wiccan, deflecting the dark dimensions, corrupting energies. Wiccan, his mind pushed to its limits, reached deep within himself. He didn't just warp reality, he understood it. He saw the threads Dormammu had woven into Tiamat's nascent stirring, the anchors of chaos. With a final, guttural shout, he snapped them. The magical feedback was immense, a shockwave of pure arcane force that pulsed through the dimension. Dormammu shrieked, a sound that twisted the very fabric of space. His immense form wavered, flickered, and then, with a final, desperate roar, retracted into the rapidly closing tear in reality. Tiamat's energy, no longer being siphoned, settled back into a deep, rhythmic hum beneath the earth, its cosmic power stabilized. Silence, profound and heavy, fell upon the battlefield. The sky, scarred moments before, slowly began to knit itself back together. The heroes, exhausted but triumphant, looked at each other. An unlikely alliance, forged in the face of cosmic dread, had held the line. Wiccan, leaning on Nightcrawler,